Hi everyone, this is Veronica. Today our topic of discussion is, can coronavirus spread through air? So this is the most searched question right now. I already made this video in Hindi and now I'll discuss this in English. For my video updates and queries, you can connect with me on Instagram and Facebook because I feel together we can make a difference. So in what context today we are studying this? Because as you know that virus main route of transmission from one person to another is through droplet. So that is why it is known as droplet infection, right, which are through sneezing and coughing by infected people. So if a single cough, so you can note down here that a single cough can produce around 3000 droplets, while a sneeze can produce as many as 10,000 droplets. So as you are seeing that the spread of coronavirus has been rapid and aggressive, leaving most of us thinking carefully about how we should socialize with each other, how we should clean surfaces and utensils, and wondering whether it is time to isolate ourselves from the outside world altogether. That is why India is also experiencing 21 days lockdown period also. Before going forward, let me tell you, if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, you can subscribe it so that you do not miss any important video update. Okay, so as I told you, this virus is spreading through droplets, right? So while it is in these droplets, the coronavirus is only in the air for very short time and it travels only a short distance before it is pulled down by the gravity after being coughed or sneezed. So now, as I told you about 3000 and 1000 droplets by coughing and sneezing respectively, so these droplets then land in or are breathed into another person's airways, or they fall on a surface that is touched by an uninfected person, who then touches their face, specifically their mouth, nose, ear or eyes. So that is why this method is known as droplet spread. Now see the exact length of time the virus can live in the air. So that is important, live in the air. The exact time outside of the host body is currently being researched. So according to a recent report in New England Journal of Medicine, some studies have put it just a few seconds, while there's one study which suggests it maybe 2 to 3 hours also. But however long the virus can last while it is in the air in droplets, anyone within 2 meters of the cough or sneeze can breathe it in and become infected. So an uninterrupted droplet from a sneeze, remember the word is uninterrupted, that means ideal conditions should be there. From a sneeze, it can travel around 60 meters, but most are caught in the tissues. Now the virus may also remain airborne. So that is the question right now, whether the virus is airborne. So you should listen it very carefully. The virus may also remain airborne in much tinier droplets. The usual droplets that are created while you sneeze or cough, these airborne droplets are very tiny, according to some emerging evidence which is published in some journal this week by scientists. So this was like last week, by scientists at Princeton University, University of California, Los Angeles, that is UCLA, it's a very famous university, and US research agency, National Institutes of Health, though that is not in significant quantities. So although these scientists are not denying that they can remain, they could be airborne, but the virus is not in significant quantities here. So this is just a preliminary research. So that is why it is important to remember that these studies are only preliminary and other research has contradicted them also. But if correct, this might explain why so many people are becoming infected so quickly. Because when a virus becomes airborne, it is described as a aerosol. Okay, this means the virus remains suspended in the air in very tiny water droplets, smaller than the ones which you cough or sneeze, long after large droplets have fallen to surfaces or been breathed in. So your answer is whether this virus is airborne right now. So your answer should be no. So you can be free, you can go out, there is no need to worry, because even if it is airborne, it is not in significant quantities that it can affect you, because this virus is heavier, droplets are heavier, they are pulled down by the gravity. But there is one case where it can be airborne, the closed system, where the droplets are being formed through nebulizers. So these nebulizers are being used in the healthcare systems, in hospitals. Okay, so there the doctors, they have a chance of getting infection through these tiny droplets. That is why WHO also at one point of time, they told the doctors that you should wear the mask very properly. You should use the N95 proper mask and proper gear while treating the COVID-19 patients, so that such airborne infection, doctors should not get infected. But if you see the other conditions outside environment, it is very less likely that it will be airborne. So these tiny droplets can remain in the air for hours if the conditions are right. That means there is very reduced airflow. That is not a condition because wind is continuously blowing. Then there is open space, right temperature. So these are some of the ideal conditions where this virus can act as airborne. But in our normal conditions, it is very difficult for this virus to remain airborne. See, when we think of airborne viruses, the one that most doctors will quote is measles. So you might have heard about measles. When a person infected with measles, he coughs or sneezes, the virus can remain suspended in the air or in tiny particles for 2 hours. So awaiting its next victim who will catch it by breathing in. The evidence we have that coronavirus behaves in the same way as this is very patchy. We actually don't have much evidence that coronavirus can actually behave like a measles virus which was airborne. So it appears to have some aerosol qualities, though there are, but they are only under laboratory conditions. They are not existing in other natural conditions. So if you take example of real world studies of how the virus behaves in air undertaken in hospital rooms, because the researchers were in hospitals also where infected patients have been present, have so far all these airborne characteristics have been proven negative, that there is no patient which has been infected through airborne transmission. So this is not airborne. However, scientists are still very keen to emphasize that more work is needed before coming to any definite conclusion. So for right now to conclude, I would say you need not to worry, because it is far more urgent to focus on how we do know it is spread. For example, as well as catching it via droplets, there is another major route to infection is from surfaces, like right, that is why you are being told to disinfect the surfaces also on which the virus has landed. It is only now becoming very clear how long the virus can stay on surfaces if they are not cleaned regularly. Like coronavirus are known to be especially resilient in terms of where and how long they can survive without a human host. There was a study published by NIH which showed that under ideal conditions, the virus could survive on cardboard for around 24 hours and up to 3 days on a plastic and stainless steel. So the main reason it survives longer on surfaces than in air is simply that it drops down from the air because of gravity. So physically does not stay in the air for long. Okay, now you should remember that, and you should not follow any myth or any misinformation that is shared on the social media. So when the virus is sitting on these surfaces, it only has to be touched by a person with their hands. When they then touch their mouth, nose or eyes or ears, it can find a way into their airways and another infection begins. So it is therefore very vital to clean your household surfaces, disinfect containing 60% to 70% alcohol or you can use household bleach also. See, it is very harder to know how long the virus can survive on clothing, but a lot of people are asking whether it can exist in your clothes. So NIH states that it is very less likely to last as long on porous or fibrous material. Though the organization is also currently running follow-up experiments to find out for sure. And another route of transmission here I would like to tell you is your fecal route. Okay, you should be very careful about this also. This is increasing evidence to suggest that there is increasing evidence to suggest that virus can penetrate the gastrointestinal tract, that is through your food pipe, by traveling through the body, and then it is excreted when you pass stool or feces. So it is not believed to be a major route of transmission, but adds to the mounting reasons as to why you should wash your hands after using the toilet. See, here in this case, much is yet to be learned about this new virus, but every way it is spread can be fought. All the ways, at least that we know, it can be fought through appropriate hygiene measures. Hand washing, disinfecting surfaces remain the best weapons to in our arsenal when it comes to the war on COVID-19. So for this question, whether it spreads through air, now I hope you know the answer, that it is not airborne as such, but it can exist in particular ideal conditions. Still, a lot of studies are going on, but right now you need not to worry. So this is all about today. If you have any queries, you can contact me on social media. The PDF of this lecture will be available on my Telegram, that is t.me/Veronica_Om, or you can just search Veronica StudyIQ. Thank you. So this is the channel StudyIQ. If you're preparing for UPSC or any government exam, our pen drive and tablet courses are available. If you're preparing for UPSC CSE 2020, our pen drive course is available, where you can find 100% coverage of UPSC vast syllabus. Daily current affair updates will be available. Self-paced learning process is provided. This course has been prepared by top faculties of StudyIQ, and now you can purchase this course at ₹625 per month only. For additional information, you can visit our site, and there are the phone numbers also given. You can call them and gain the additional information. You can connect with me for my video updates on Instagram and Facebook, because I feel together we can make a huge difference. For queries, you can even email me. Thank you so much.